Hi, friends. So today I wanted to talk about judgment and judging others, and I wanted to see what the scripture says about that. It's important for us to not to judge people and judge others because we don't know their circumstances, we don't know what their background, what they've been through, and it's a lot of times it's important for us to look at ourselves first before we judge someone else. So I wanted to look at the scripture, and a lot of times too, some people won't be honest with you when you first meet them, even if you've known them for a long time. They won't be completely honest with you because they're scared of judgment. They're scared of being judged. And it's kind of sad because, they shouldn't have to feel like they're going to be judged because everybody has a past. Everybody has something that they're not proud of, or, we're human. We all make mistakes. We're all, sinners. We're human. We're not perfect. Only Jesus is perfect. So it makes me really sad that some people cannot be honest about maybe their past or whatever might happen because they fear of being judged. And it's really sad. I think it's important for us not to judge. For me, I don't like to judge. I don't judge. But if I find out information about someone that's close to me, it's heartbreaking because you want to be able to make sure that you know all your facts so you can make a decision based off the facts and if it affects your life. You want to be able to have full information before you can make a decision. You don't want to feel like you're being deceived and told half the truth. That's not fair for anyone, right? But I definitely feel bad for the person that feels like they can't tell their story because they feel like they're going to be judged. So I wanted to talk about judgment today. So if we look at Matthew 7 verses 1, it says, "Judge not. If you do judge, you'll be judged in the same measures." So if you're quick to judge someone, then Jesus said that you're going to be judged in the same amount, same measure. So we can't be quick to judge someone about their past, their situation, what they've done, what they've said, whatever it is. It's not judgment day. It's not for us to judge. Only God can judge us for our actions. We can't be quick to judge someone else when we need to look at ourselves first. Even if you've made progress in your life and you're doing better now, getting closer to God, behaving more, acting more Christ-like, loving your neighbors as yourselves, things like that. It doesn't matter. Everyone still has a past. I'm sure it took you a while to get to that point. So it's important to not judge others that are not on the same journey as yourself, right? You're supposed to encourage them and motivate them, not judge them and make them the worse. So again, so Matthew 7 verses 1, it says, "Judge not, for with what judgment ye judge, ye should be judged. And with what measure ye measure, ye should be measured onto you." So basically, you will be judged in the same measure that you were judging them. And I do not want that. And then if you look at Matthew 7 verses 3, it says, "And why beholdest thou the mote in thy brother's eye, but consider not the beam in thy own eyes?" So basically it's saying, why are you looking at the speck, the tiny little spot in your brother's eye, but you're not considering or paying attention to the plank, which is the board, which is the log in your own eyes? So we're not paying attention to what we're doing, but we're quick to point the fingers and said, "You did this, you did that, you act like this." It doesn't matter. What about you? We need to start pointing a finger of ourselves first. It's not our job to judge them. Okay. So again, that was Matthew 7 verses 3. And basically says, take the speck, before you look at the speck at your brother's eye, which is the speck is a tiny little spot, look at the plank, which is the log, which is the plank, which is the board, which is huge, in your own eye. So focus on yourself and work on the things that you need to work on before you're quick to judge someone else, right? Especially if it's something that you used to do something similar in the past. If it's something that you can relate to, you can't be quick to judge them just because you stopped. They'll stop when it's time for them to stop. It's not our job to judge them, right? And then on Matthew 7 verses 5, it says, "Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thy own eyes, and then thou shalt see clearly to cast out the mote out of your brother's eye." It says, take out the beam, take out the log and the plank out of your eye first. Make sure you're, acting right and walking more Christ-like. And make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do first before you're quick to judge someone else, right? Make sure you're doing it right before you're quick to judge someone else. Wow, that's amazing. And it says, thou hypocrites, because that is being a hypocrite. If you're quick to judge someone about something, the same thing that you're doing, behind closed doors, or you did the other day, that is a hypocrite because you did the same thing, And a lot of times we're quick to point the fingers, but we really do need to look at the speck at our own eyes. And we're doing the exact same things, but for some reason we tell our brains what we're doing is okay, or we minimize it. I don't know why. It's human nature, I guess. All right, so the first one we looked at was Matthew 7, verses 1 to 2. And that one says, don't judge or you'll be judged in the same measure. Okay, so that's the first one we'll be looking at today. It's highlighted in orange. So this one right here. And if you look down here, it says, take the plank out of your eye before you try to remove the speck out of your brother's eyes. So those chapters right there, Matthew 7, 1 verses to 3. All right. So, and then also the other one was Matthew 7 verses 5. It says, you hypocrite, before you cast out the beam out of your own eyes so you can see clearly before you point about the speck that's in your brother's eye. So make sure you take out the plank that's out of your eye so you can see clearly before you are quick to judge your brothers and sisters and say, well, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you're doing the same thing. It says that hypocrites. It's calling us hypocrites for doing that because if we're doing the same thing, it's not our job to judge, right? It's only God's job to judge, So even if you've made a mistake, say I made a mistake and I judged someone, because it's human nature, it's going to happen. We're not perfect, right? Just forgive yourself and start over the next day. If I made an error, I always say, I forgive you, Manasab. Tomorrow's a new day. Please, God, forgive me for my sins, and we start over the next day. You apologize to the person, you move on. That's what I do. Because I'm not perfect. We're all work in progress. We're human, right? We're going to make mistakes. So I love this verse. I love that part. But let me show you the part where it says, first tells us basically to stop being a hypocrite and, make sure that first cast out the beam out of thy own eye so you can see clearly before you point out your brother's speck, which is right here, okay? All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.